Alright, I'm going to make the leg. It's going to be pretty simple, pretty easy. So what I'm going to do is simply use the cylinder here. Same thing, same concept. I'm going to go in the bottom here. I'm going to basically build this all the way up here like so. I don't need the cap segments for this one. So I just need to make sure that what I'm going to make sure is that I'm matching the number of sides here. So this is, if I look at this, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it looks like there's 9 here. So if I want, I can always add another one here. And that's pretty simple to do. I just need to make sure that that's correct. So I'm going to hit F7, and that'll give me, you know, my total faces, polys, verts, things like that. So I'm going to just go into, I'm going to go into polygon here. I'm going to go into border. I'm going to grab that border, and if it doesn't show the statistics, I can go into here, go to configure viewports, and that will bring up this. I'm going to go to statistics, and then I can do edge count as well. Say OK and apply. So with that idea in mind, then I go to edge. So I can go here, go into configure viewports, statistics, and then total and selection, and say OK. And so now with the edge mode here, so I can grab that edge real quick like so, and like that. And so that means I've got 9 edges. So I need to have 9 pieces here, like that. And it's just a matter of adding one more to it. Doesn't matter. I can always kind of go in and clean that up or delete that if I need. It's probably easier to grab this one here and control backspace that out. Then go back this one here. So I just need to make sure my edge count matches. Make my cylinder give me the right height. I'm going to angle it a little bit, so I'm going to rotate it here and just basically move it like so, and then convert to an editable poly. I'm going to go into top view here, and I'm going to go in and grab the caps. 1 and 2. I'm going to hit delete. And so with that idea in mind, I'm going to grab this top loop right here like that, and basically just scale that outward and kind of match it up like this. Then I'm going to grab this edge here, and I can Alt X. I can Alt X or Tab X, and I can move this over here and grab this piece here, and I can move it down here. And I'm going to just scale that down. Alt W over here, and so basically this is going to move back like this. I'm going to move it up just a little bit to match that. I'm going to grab this loop here, and I'm going to scale it this way like so, like that. And then what I can do is simply go through and add in more edge loops here and kind of line them up. So I'll add one here, I'll probably add one here, I'll add one down here and one there. And so with that lines, I'm going to grab this, and I'm just going to scale that outward like so. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to scale that outward like so, but I'm going to move it back like that, and resize it accordingly. I'm going to grab this and move it back here. Maybe even move this one up front. And so that's a quick, fast way to add your leg in there. And then what I can do is I can grab this one here, grab this here. Oops, sorry, grab this one here and go down to attach and then add that attachment in there. And then what I can do is once I've got that, I can go to this one here and it should be pretty easy to line up the verts. So I'm going to use target weld for this because I've kind of lined up my geometry. So I'm just going through and snapping these pieces together like so. And if you can't see, you can always snap it like that. And there is basically the simple way to do that. Now I can go back up here and W, and I'm just going to slowly move some of these verts in. Grab this, we can kind of pull that out a little bit. Something along the lines of like this. Grab this, and I'm going to make sure it curves a little bit like so. And I'm going to grab these and start pulling those in a little bit. And I want to get those curves really nice and tight. So just pretty close, pretty easy. Just kind of moving things around here, adjusting accordingly. So once that's done, there's my basic leg. I can go in and add more geometry in here and even out the squares. When I subdivide, that's what it'll look like. And so that's okay. But ultimately, the more geometry that I add in there with a subdivide, the better off. So I'm going to just kind of go in here and kind of square up things a little bit more. I can then go in here as well, and I'm going to just add a couple of geometry pieces in here just to kind of even out things. And again, it's more or less at this point, I am just going through and kind of adjusting and making things look a little bit cleaner, more anatomical, so on and so forth. And then I'm going to grab this one up here, pull that up, grab this one down here, pull that out. And if you find straight edges, it's easier to just kind of go through and kind of grab those straight edges and kind of round things out and make them a little bit more kind of fluid. Like this. And I'm just kind of moving this. I'm just moving this, basically paying attention to where this goes along the way. So with that idea, again, do the other side, make sure things line up. So again, going back and pulling some of this back here, pushing some of this back here. Like so. Maybe grab this back here, start pulling that out. All right. And if you want more geometry in here, you want to look at the knee. Basically what the knee is going to do is give me a little bit more geometry. So I'm going to actually add another swift loop right in the knee here. and then go up in the knee here, and I can pull some of this apart, round that out a little bit, and even grab this and start pulling things like that around a little bit more. So that gives me a good idea of a leg. And then for the arm, so generally a T-pose is useful when you're doing this. If you don't have a T-pose, so if you've got an A-pose like this, an easy way to do this is, you can see on the side view here, I've already got like the side of my arm, and we're doing the same thing. So to make life a lot simpler, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and add in another cylinder here. I think it's 8 sides again, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just make a little small cylinder. I'm going to move it up like so, and then I'm going to move it up and kind of match it like this. And I don't need it as tall here, so I'm just going to kind of bring that down like that. Now, a quick and easy way to do this is to convert this to an editable poly. And then once you convert it to an editable poly, what you can do is you can then create a mirror of it. We're not going to go in, we're not worried about XY or anything like that. So basically we are just doing a clone of it. Now, another way I can do this is to simply grab this and move it off to the side, and I'm going to just say it's going to be a reference like so, or I can reference it this way, and I'm going to only do one copy. So what happens now is I can work on one copy here. So I can grab this one, I can move it over here, I can rotate it off to the side like so, and do what I need to do. Or even if I wanted to, like, I can go in and adjust. So what I can do now with this is I'm just going to go in the top here and the bottom, and I'm going to hit delete. And then what I'm going to do is basically go into the vertice level. I'm going to hit Alt X, and then I'm going to grab this and move it up here, and we're going to scale it down like so. I'm going to grab this here, scale it down like so, and then grab this here, and we're going to scale it down like so. So this is basically my rough geometry. Now you can see it's really wide, sorry, from here. And so I'm going to just add another Swift loop in here real quick. I'm going to add just real quick one here, and that's going to give me my forearm. And then I'm going to add another one up here, and we're just going to make it wider to be my bicep. Okay, really simple, really easy. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, close this out, and I'm going to go here, and you'll notice that I've kind of flattened things accordingly. But over here, what I can do is then on this side of things, I can go in my editable poly here, I can go to my vert, and I can manipulate this accordingly. So basically I know that this is my object. I can change this to local, and local makes a little bit easier, so I'm just going to scale that to meet my needs like so, and I'm going to do the same thing here. So that's going to be like that. I'm going to grab this one here, grab these here, and I'm going to grab this and scale it like this. So you can see this really quickly, really easily makes a nice, basically, it makes a nice arm. And then what I can do is when I'm happy with the way this looks, I can go in object mode, and I can grab it. I can rotate it 90 degrees, which to me makes more sense. And I'm going to grab this here, and put it right about like so. And then with that idea in mind, then what I can do is I can grab this one. I grab this one here, grab this one here. So you'll notice that there is a like I won't be able to attach it. So if I try to attach it from here, I can attach that, and now this one becomes a separate piece. So I can go in there, and then to attach this, I'm going to go in 3D mode here, and I'm going to go in, and the easiest way to do this is to go in to this and grab this, and then basically we can go in and bridge it. So that basically makes that like so. Now that doesn't look really natural, especially since I think let's go with polygon here, and let's move that a little bit forward here, a little bit more, and then we go in the borders and let's bridge that. And then what we can do is, with that idea in mind, then what we can do is we can start adjusting accordingly. So what I can do is I'm going to add another Swift loop in here like that, and go into the vertice here, grab this vertice, and I'm going to basically just move that up and around like so, like this. So that's my shoulder, and then the same thing happens over here. So I'm going to grab this like this, and I'm going to move that up and underneath, and then under here I'm going to probably grab this one here and move it in accordingly like this. So it looks like I have a triangle here, which is fine. I can actually really quickly go in here and simply go into the edges and grab that edge right there. I hit Control and double click, and then I'm going to just go in and collapse that. And so there basically is the attachment for that, and it's really simple, really easy. Again, I want to go in and make more geometry, especially around the elbow and stuff like that, and ultimately basically form that out. So again, go in and add some Swift loops, spend the time to basically align the model and make it nice and clean, so you don't get all these straight lines. Instead, you're going to have a little bit of adjustment for vertices and things like that. So changing up these things makes a huge aspect ratio of like how you kind of build out this. I can also put more joints in the elbows for animation, and I can make sure that things are a little bit smoother here. So when I subdivide, that's my full arm and leg combo. Again, it's a lot of it's just tweaking and making sure things are rounded and the form looks good. All right, I hope that helps.